Hey everyone! In this video we are going to talk about magnets and electricity and how you can actually make a magnet that you can turn on and off. So this is a magnet. You might have some magnets on your refrigerator or in various other places around your home. And so magnets, of course, as I'm sure you've seen, can pick up other types of metal, certain types of metal like paper clips, without grabbing them and somehow attaching them to each other, right? Like gluing or taping or something. And so magnets work by creating a magnetic field around them, which is basically the electrons in the atoms of both things sort of lining up. So you can just sort of think of it as everything lining up together. And so everything is sort of flowing in the same direction, just like in that circuit of electricity that we were talking about in the last video. So how are we going to do this? Well, and what do we need? Well, we need a nail, and we need some wire, and it has to be, well, I have copper wire, and that's usually what you would find and use. You need some little clippers and some sandpaper, depending on what type of wire you are going to use. And so, oh, and you also need a battery, of course, because we need a power source to supply the electricity. So, again, we have a nail, we have wire, clippers, a little bit of sandpaper, and a battery. So basically, all we're going to do is wrap the wire around the nail many times. And when you do this, if you're going to do this at home, make sure as you wrap it, keep part of it on the outside so it's not being wrapped. So I'll show you how that gets started here, and then we'll wrap it a bunch. So I'm just going to start wrapping it, but as you can see, the end of it there is not being wrapped. So I'm going to wrap this a bunch of times. I'm not sure how many, maybe 100, maybe a couple hundred, I don't know. But I'm going to wrap it a bunch, and then we will check back in when it's all wrapped up. All right, so now we have a nail wrapped in this wire, and I just use the clippers to snip off the wire from the rest of the roll. So that's all those are for. So now I have this nail that's wrapped with wire, and I have two ends. And so this wire that I used, which you can find pretty easily, has a coating on the outside, and we want to take that coating off. And we want to get to the copper underneath. So that's all the sandpaper is for. So all I'm going to do is take off the outside coating. So it's red right now, and we want to make it so that it's that nice copper color that we're used to with pennies and other copper things. So I'm just going to rub this a little bit and get that coating off. And now the other one. Make sure we have a good connection on both ends. All right, so the coating is off of that wire, and it's probably hard to see. You can see it a little bit, but you can see there's red down there, and then above that there's a more copper color on both ends. So the copper is going to connect to the battery, and it's going to let electricity from the battery flow through that wire. So next, what we need also is some things that we want to pick up with this battery. So I just have these paper clips from before. So I'll just put them there, and I will tilt the camera down a little bit so you can see a little better. And so what we're going to do with this now is you can hold one end with, well, first of all, actually, we should see if this works with these at this point. So I have my paper clips spread out nice and evenly. Let's see if this magnet, or let's see if this is a magnet. Doesn't seem to be a magnet right now. And here's that other magnet, just to show you that these are normal paper clips and they will be picked up by a magnet. Okay, so this nail wrapped in wire is currently not magnetic. All right, so we are going to just hold one end of the wire on one end of the battery, and then hold the other end on the other end of the battery. And let's see if this works. There we go. So, as you can see, this is now a magnetic wire. So I'm going to let go of one end of the wire, and you can see that the magnet will stop working, stop being a magnet. See? And so basically, you can do that as many times as you want. Basically, turn your magnet on and off. So we talked about a magnet sort of just being a bunch of electrons all going the same way. So in this nail, there's a bunch of electrons in the materials, and they're all sort of just floating around in random ways, random as far as we're concerned. And so when we put in an electrical current through this wire, that sort of makes all of those electrons go in the same direction, so that it can create a magnetic field and become a magnet that can pick up stuff as we're used to with magnets. So if you do this at home, just be careful not to hold these wires on here for too long, because as we saw with the steel wool and the battery, it can get very hot and can potentially cause a fire. So if you're doing this at home, just you can use your fingers, that's fine, but just don't like tape it to the battery, because that could cause a problem in a little bit of time. All right, so I hope that was a cool experiment and cool demonstration. I hope that you can try it at home if you have the materials, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in today.